Part 122. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1213. The more subtle, the more cautious. In the current situation, either the entire Supreme Dragon clan regards itself as a treasure, or the entire Supreme Dragon clan wants to kill itself. These are two extremes, and there is absolutely no middle level to choose from. Loyalty leads to life, disobedience leads to death. It would be better if Zhang Zizhe was born in the dragon sacrifice god realm and was a queen of a famous family. But he happened to come from the lesser god realm and had a humble background. If he had the identity of Qin Yushan, or if Qin Yushan himself had such a destiny, then it is estimated that the entire Supreme Dragon clan can directly enter the state of carnival without having to worry too much. Seeing that he knew his situation, the heavenly dragon god king said no more. It is indeed a time of ecstasy to get the 9 dragons chaos divine bell now, but it does need to be vigilant. After all, if something goes wrong, the opponent Zhang Zizhe will face is the same as the opponent Immortal Lord needs to face. The King Mu Dragon clan once again went to the gods. Zhang Zizhe could only wait and see what news they would bring next. At the same time, he was naturally eager to get familiar with the divine artifact of the 9 dragons chaos divine bell. He knew that there was a place that was very suitable for him to become familiar with and master the power of the 9 dragons chaos divine bell as soon as possible. That place is the world of evolution. He is now at the 9th level of the Divine King and is not yet at the level of the Divine King, but he is enough and has the strength to compete with the Divine Beast King here. This time, Zhang Zizhe came to the evolutionary world alone with the 9 dragons chaos divine bell. He was very high profile, no longer hiding as before, but as soon as he came in, he began to refine the 9 dragons chaos divine bell. For a time, all 9 chaos bells surrounded him, and they all maintained their original appearance. For example, the chaos ice bell is still like a blue ice sculpture, the chaos thunder bell is wrapped with green electricity, the chaos golden bell shines with platinum light, the chaos soul bell is deep and strange, and the chaos earth bell is also black, but heavy and heavy. Ancient, like watered soil, you can tell the difference from the chaos soul clock at once. In addition, there are the chaos fire clock, which burns with purple fire, the chaos wooden clock, which is made of materials like trees and is full of vitality, the green chaos water clock, with rippling blue waves, and the chaos wind clock, where the wind is howling. 9 giant bells of chaos surrounded him. For a moment, the terrifying pressure suppressed the entire evolutionary world. Zhang Zizhe exerted all his power, making the evolutionary world at this time seem to have returned to the time when the claws of the beast or the heart appeared, falling into an atmosphere of fear. At this moment, Zhang Zizhe was like a god descending from heaven. Those beast kings had long been hiding. Only the beast kings at the level of the blood hell twin demons still had the spirit and will to resist. They guarded their territory and were against the 9 dragons chaos divine bell. The oppressors are very resistant and dissatisfied, but when Zhang Zizhe doesn't provoke them, they basically won't take the initiative to cause trouble. What kind of power does the Kowloon Chaos Divine Bell have? Zhang Zizhe was curious himself. He knew that the ability must be the same as that of the previous son of the divine weapon, but the power and nature would be completely different because of the support of the real divine weapon. The first mythical beast king that appeared in front of Zhang Zizhe now was named 3 Hell Wolves. It was a huge black demon wolf with a black wolf head in the middle. The wolf heads on the left and right had pale hair growing out. The eyes are pale, and there are cold flames burning in them. Although the flames are burning, the places burned by the flames have condensed into ice, which will break when touched. The black wolf head in the center is surrounded by burning black flames. The temperature of the black flames is so high that it can melt everything. Although they are both flames, they are one cold and one hot. When the two are mixed together, but there is no feeling of rejection. This is the most terrifying part. After meeting this divine beast king, Zhang Zizai was not afraid of this first Divine King level opponent in his life. When the opponent was still intimidating him, he took action directly. Without saying a word, he directly used the 9 Dragons Chaos. The Divine Bell directly suppresses it. Each Chaos Giant Bell is completely different from left to right. For example, the Chaos Earth Bell was suppressed directly on the ground. In an instant, a very terrifying Black Earth realm was formed. A huge phantom of the bell encompassed a large area of space around it. The 3 Hell Wolves were naturally trapped in it. Inside, it is subjected to countless times of gravity, and whether it is speed or other things, it drops very quickly. For example, the Chaos Ice Bell descended on the heads of the 3 Hell Wolves, and then countless snowflakes fell down inside the giant bell. Wherever it went, it was covered in ice for thousands of miles. Their power is the same as that of the Son of Heavenly Artifact, but the way it is expressed is completely different. With the real entity of Heavenly Artifact, the overall lethality and control power are not at the same level. All these abilities are supported. As long as the opponent cannot break the Chaos Earth Clock and Chaos Ice Clock, the control of these 2 areas will always exist. Of course, this is definitely only part of it. For example, the Chaos Golden Bell and the Chaos Water Bell did not attack. Instead, they enveloped Zhang Zizai just like the Demon Lord Cauldron. The Chaos Golden Bell was hard and solid, while the Chaos Water Bell turned into ripples, rippling layer by layer. Using softness to overcome strength, under this dual protection, Zhang Zizai had no problems at all. The 3 Hell Wolves could not be freed from Zhang Zizai's control, let alone hurt him. Of course, this is only 4/9. The Chaos Thunder Bell also integrated into the body and turned into Cyan Thunder, causing Zhang Zizai's speed to suddenly increase. The Chaos Fire Bell directly turned into purple flame wings, allowing Zhang Zizai to fly freely. The wings transformed by the Chaos Fire Bell can also attack and defend. When defending, it is equivalent to the protective power of the Chaos Gold Bell. When attacking, it can also be used as a broadsword to directly chop the enemy. As for the Chaos Wood Bell, it is also integrated into the body, which is the innermost protection. It guards Zhang Zizai's flesh, blood, bones, internal organs, and all parts of the divine body are full of vitality. This is countless times the ability of the Immortal Talisman. Even if Zhang Zizai's other defenses are broken, the Chaos Wood Bell can still give him a terrifying blood and flesh recovery speed. There are also the Chaos Wind Bell and Chaos Soul Bell that were obtained at the end. In fact, these 2 types are offensive types. For example, the Chaos Wind Bell descended on the heads of the 3 Hell Wolves, and countless yellow gusts were blown directly from the giant bell. The gusts can not only tear the body, but also the soul. It must be said that the other Chaos Giant Bells consume Zhang Zizai's ancient god power, but the Chaos Wind Bell and Chaos Soul Bell consume the power of the heavenly god soul, among which the Chaos Wind Bell consumes relatively less. At this time, because Zhang Zizai's heavenly god soul is extremely powerful, surpassing the God King, the soul-splitting part of the Chaos Wind Bell's power will be very terrifying. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1214. Of course, the most terrifying thing is the Chaos Soul Bell, which purely consumes the power of the heavenly God Soul. This is a heavenly God artifact that can fully utilize Zhang Zizai's heavenly God Soul power. The Chaos Soul Bell has changed very little at this time. It is the only Chaos Giant Bell that Zhang Zizai can get. Now facing these 3 Hell Wolves, when all other Chaos Giant Bells have been activated, the attack and control of the Chaos Earth Bell, Chaos Ice Bell and Chaos Wind Bell alone have made the 3 Hell Wolves howl in anger. In fact, Zhang Zizai can see that the power of the 9 Dragon Chaos God Bell is almost half to improve its own speed, defense, and recovery, and the other half is the ability to control the opponent. The Chaos Earth Bell, Chaos Ice Bell and Chaos Wind Bell are all control. These improvements and controls are all auxiliary means, but with these auxiliary means, it becomes much easier for Zhang Zizhe to defeat the opponent by himself. After all, controlling the opponent is equal to weakening the opponent. The 9-Dragon Chaos God Bell is the strongest state when it cooperates with itself to fight, instead of relying on the 9-Dragon Chaos God Bell itself to suppress. However, the 9-Dragon Chaos God Bell itself also has offensive means, and this means comes from the Chaos Soul Bell. The Chaos Soul Bell consumes the power of the Heavenly Soul. It just so happens that Zhang Zizhe's Heavenly Soul is extremely powerful, which means that the Chaos Soul Bell he casts will definitely be very powerful. When dealing with the 3 Hell Wolves, Zhang Zizhe did not use the Chaos Soul Bell. He shook the purple fire sky wings on his body and rushed into the battlefield in an instant. The Emperor Demon Sword Wheel in his hand directly turned into a sword wheel dance, like a dart that kept spinning. The more it rotated, the more terrifying it was. It cut towards the 3 Hell Wolves. Zhang Zizhe only needed to control it with his mind, and the Emperor Demon Sword Wheel would attack by itself. And Zhang Zizhe himself approached the opponent like lightning and thunder. The 3 Hell Wolves spewed out 3 kinds of flames in their struggle, 1 black and 2 white. The black burning fire and the white cold fire entangled and gathered in the air, forming a terrifying fireball, which exploded directly in front of Zhang Zizhe, producing a destructive force that shook the earth. This is equivalent to the power of the God King, which is really terrifying for Zhang Zizhe. It's a pity that the resistance of the Chaos Water Bell on the outermost layer of his body is almost the same as that of the Prison Dragon Scroll, especially when facing the flames. The tens of thousands of green waves were directly dispelled, and Zhang Zizhe was completely unharmed and rushed directly through it. At this time, the Emperor Demon Sword Wheel had already fallen from the sky and slashed at the 3 Hell Wolves, and Zhang Zizhe, contrary to the opponent's expectations, passed through its attack without any injury. This moment made the 3 Hell Wolves despair. The sudden increase in the gravity of the Chaos Earth Bell made him lie down just as he was about to take off, and the countless white ice condensed in the Chaos Ice Bell, freezing it for a moment. A moment is enough. The Emperor Demon Sword Wheel flew down and directly cut off its wolf tail. At that moment, the 3 Hell Wolves howled to the sky, in great pain, but the next moment, Zhang Zizhe fused the 5-fold dragon seal and directly bombarded his black wolf head. Click. That was the sound of bones breaking, and its central wolf head burst into blood and drooped in pain. To be honest, Zhang Zizhe showed mercy, otherwise his sword wheel dance could cut this guy off, and he didn't need to attack the opponent's strongest wolf head. Even so, the 3 Hell Wolves will not be able to recover for a year or 2. They are completely terrified. They wanted to hold on and protect their territory before, but now the 3 Hell Wolves just want to escape. They struggled to rush out of Zhang Zizhe's control and fled, leaving a pile of blood. Zhang Zizhe collected all the Chaos Giant Bells, merged them into his back, and then gently fell to the ground. The power is really terrible. He took a deep breath. The combat power of these 3 Hell Wolves is equivalent to the 2nd level of the God King. If there is no 9-Dragon Chaos God Bell, Zhang Zizhe may have difficulty in killing them. That's because the God Beast King does not have a Totem God phase, and the Forbidden Dragon God phase has no effect. This is where the Mirror God has an advantage over the Forbidden Dragon God phase. But with the 9-Dragon Chaos God Bell, Zhang Zizhe can easily control his opponent and make himself invulnerable to swords and guns, easily defeating his opponent. He has a rough idea of how powerful this 9-Dragon Chaos God Bell is. It is indeed a treasure that even the gods want to get. The power I can exert now is less than 1,000th, but it is already so terrifying. If the gods control it to fight, the pressure on the opponent will definitely be even stronger. Zhang Zizhe was naturally surprised. However, it would be better for him to be more familiar with it. After all, this heavenly artifact is more complicated and not single. It may need to cooperate with each other. The better the cooperation, the stronger the lethality. He has a hunch that all his future battles may be related to this 9-dragon Chaos God Bell. With the Forbidden Dragon God phase, chaos swallowing the sky, infinite time and space, the source of the ancient god of destruction, as well as the Emperor Demon Sword Will and the 6 Killing Sword formation, combined, he feels that he can still defeat stronger opponents. The gap between the God Lord and the God King is very large, because the God King can transform into a totem beast to fight, and his combat power will soar. Zhang Zizai has enough capital to make up for this gap. Normally, it is a joke to let the totem god fight the totem beast. The God Beast Kings in this evolutionary world are all the body of the God Beast. Except that their means and wisdom are slightly inferior to the totem beasts of the God King, everything else is similar, such as the power of the body of the God Beast and their totem beast bodies. So, the Beast Kings here are very good opponents for Zhang Zizai. He has already injured 3 Hell Wolves, so for fairness, he will challenge the few Beast Kings in the second level of the evolution world one by one until he can master the power of the 9-dragon Chaos Divine Bell bit by bit. The Beast Kings in the evolution world are completely in trouble. In the past few days, Zhang Zizai has forced this place to be in chaos. It was fine to take away their evolution sources before, but now every Beast King has been beaten up, basically with bruises on their noses and faces. In front of Zhang Zizai, they really have no resistance at all. Until the 3rd day, the Beast Kings here were basically abused by Zhang Zizai, and he came to the core area. As long as he subdued the overlord of the 2nd level of the evolution world, maybe he can try to see if he can pass through the vortex of the sky of the evolution world again and reach a higher place, such as the 3rd level of the evolution world. As if it was a fateful meeting, he and the Bloodmane Dark Kylan encountered each other again. This time, the Bloodmane Dark Kylan must have recognized him. In the past, Zhang Zizai relied on that beast claw to trick the source of evolution, the great Huntian Emperor Demon, away from him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1215. So when it saw Zhang Zizai again, it could hardly hide its anger. But Zhang Zizai was also not interested in reminiscing with it. He knew that this Bloodmane Dark Unicorn was very strong, so he took action at the first moment of meeting. This time, he directly sacrificed the 9 Dragons Chaos God Bell again to suppress the Bloodmane Dark Unicorn. This time, Zhang Zizai clearly felt the pressure from the opponent. This Beast King was indeed strong. Its flesh and blood were strong enough, and its soul was strong enough to make it not afraid of gravity, ice, or storms. In the Xuanhuan to Heavy Realm, the Frozen Miles, and the Soul-Splitting Storm, it can still stay stable and even kill Zhang Zizai directly. Zhang Zizai's ancient god source power has been used to the limit, but it is still difficult to suppress the Bloodmane Dark Unicorn, so at this time, he has to think of other ways. I haven't used the Chaos Soul Bell before because I can't use it. The other Beast Kings can't bear it at all. But now, after the other 8 kinds of Chaos Giant Bells have been deployed, either to control the opponent or to protect themselves, the last black small bell appears in Zhang Zizai's hand, which is the Chaos Soul Bell. At this moment, the Bloodmane Dark Unicorn roared and rushed to his eyes, spewing out a mouthful of anger, forming a black sun, crushing over. Zhang Zizai was unmoved. His feet changed, and lightning and thunder flashed for a while. In the blink of an eye, he had appeared behind the Bloodmane Dark Unicorn, and then suddenly hit the Chaos Soul Bell with his fist. It was not a punch, but a rhythm. Then the melodious bell began to ring. Zhang Zizai's hand moved very fast outside the Chaos Soul Bell, which was simply dazzling. This is the Requiem. Requiem is the power of the Chaos Soul Bell. At this moment, the melodious bell sound is constantly stirring. Zhang Zizai is just like merging with the eternal Chaos Soul Dragon. He didn't expect that he could become a player one day. When the Requiem came out, the strange sound enveloped the whole place. The irritable blood-maned dark unicorn was the first to bear the brunt. In an instant, its rage began to disappear and became docile. It began to twist and struggle painfully, sometimes lost its soul, sometimes very painful. It can occasionally wake up and look at Zhang Zizai angrily, but it hasn't killed him again, and the requiem of the Chaos Soul Bell suppressed it again, making it difficult to move. It can only live in a dream. It can be seen that the lethality of this requiem is really terrible. In fact, it shouldn't be so terrible. It's mainly because Zhang Zizai's heavenly soul exceeds his current divine body and realm. The requiem supported by the heavenly soul is indeed enough to make even the God King tremble. Moreover, the Chaos Soul Bell not only has the requiem, it also has a more terrifying means, that is the soul-killing song. This is the real attack of the Chaos Soul Bell at this moment. Zhang Zizai's style of music changed, and the melodious bell sound suddenly became urgent in an instant. It was like a battle of iron and steel, and countless swords and guns began to burst out. This was like a fierce battle, stirring people's hearts, but for the blood-maned dark Kirin, this was countless. Mountains of swords and seas of fire. It was originally just a soul-destroying, but at this moment, it could only scream endlessly, rolling on the ground, and even rolling its eyes. It can be seen that the lethality of the soul-killing song is enough to kill it on the spot. In fact, the resistance of the divine beast in terms of the soul will be worse, so when the requiem and soul-killing song came out, it really couldn't stop it and became a lamb to be slaughtered in Zhang Zizai's hands. However, Zhang Zizai did not continue. After he probably integrated the requiem and soul-killing song, he knew that the effects of the two were almost the same. He listened to the sound of the Chaos Soul Bell with his palm, and then the blood-maned dark Kirin climbed up. It was probably frightened by Zhang Zizai, and its eyes were full of awe. After Zhang Zizai stopped, it fled in a hurry. Zhang Zizai did not chase it, so it disappeared in front of Zhang Zizai in a short time and gave up its territory. Zhang Zizai also concluded through the trials of the past few days that the nine-dragon Chaos God Bell was originally powerful, and because of his heavenly soul, the Chaos Soul Bell was particularly strong. The requiem and soul-killing song can definitely be regarded as the bottom of the box, and it is a killing skill. If this continues, one day, you can fight against the real heavenly God. No wonder they admire the nine-dragon Chaos God Bell so much. Now they know that this heavenly artifact is indeed the creation of heaven and earth, which is incredible. Now almost all the beast kings are scared away, and Zhang Zizai is happy to be free. When he is free, he can't help but look up at the sky, looking at the center of the blood-red vortex. It's time to go up and see if there is a third level of the evolutionary world. He did it as he said, almost without any hesitation. Purple fire sky wings appeared behind him. He flapped his wings and flew directly to the sky. When he reached the swallowing range of the blood-colored vortex, the whole person was pulled up by the sky. In a very short time, he reached the center of the vortex. Zhang Zizai looked up and saw that through the central channel of the vortex, he could vaguely see that there seemed to be a world above. He was a little happy. If there really was a world above, what level of evolution source would it be? Could there be a god evolution source? In the legend, the god evolution source is the most fundamental treasure to become a god. Most people are destined not to become a god, and of course they don't have a god evolution source. To be honest, although Zhang Zizai is now known to be 100% able to become a god, that is also his own condition, but if he doesn't have a god evolution source, he still can't become a god. So he was excited and rushed directly up. This time, it was still very smooth, and he rushed directly from the vortex, and then his body suddenly relaxed, and he completely reached another world. The third level of the evolution world, Zhang Zizai thought excitedly, he must have come to the third level of the evolution world. However, when he looked around clearly, he was dumbfounded. This was not the third level of the evolution world, this was simply the first level of the evolution world. Zhang Zizai had stayed in the first level of the evolution world for too long, and of course he was very familiar with it. There were low-level evolution sources everywhere, and those source beasts were also first and second grade source beasts, the kind of creatures that could be exterminated by a whim. How could it be here? It's impossible. Zhang Zizai walked forward, and he encountered a deserted island where he had stayed for a long time. There were many traces of their residence here, and even the wooden houses were still there. This made him think of Lingling, missing her expectant look every time she waited for him to come back at the beach, and missing her pitiful little face, but all this was just adding to his longing. He was now completely sure that this was the first level of the evolution world. He came to the center of the first level of the evolutionary world, passed through the yellow vortex again, and came to the second level of the evolutionary world. Then he reached the blood-mane dark Kylin again, flew through the center of the blood-colored vortex again, and came to the first level of the evolutionary world again. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1216. He was helpless. I didn't expect that there is no third level of the evolutionary world. I thought too much. Although he said so, he still felt that this place was full of mystery, and it was definitely not what he saw now. If there are only two levels, where did the panda's left eye, claws and heart come from? The left eye came from the second level of the evolutionary world, and the claws couldn't have reached the second level from the first level. It's absolutely impossible. He felt very strongly, especially the heart, which had the 9-layer death purgatory evolution source inside. How could the 9-layer death purgatory, a god-level evolution source, come from the first level of the evolutionary world? He was a little confused. He didn't know until he went up. Now that he passed through this vortex, he found that this evolutionary world was even more psychedelic. He thought that if he had the chance in the future, he must think about it carefully. Now he couldn't stay here for too long, because King Mulongzun would be back soon, so he chose to leave first. Anyway, the purpose of coming in to get familiar with the 9-dragon Chaos God Bell this time had been completed. As he expected, when King Mulongzun came to the Chaos Demon realm with the news of the 9-dragon Chaos God Bell and broke into their meeting to find a solution to the heavenly intention of all beings, it caused an uproar. 9-dragon Chaos God Bell, are you sure? Is it really controlled? A dragon lord of the Shenlong Tianzu asked in astonishment. You are blind, but I am not blind, King Mulongzun said unhappily. To question him at this time is definitely not smart enough. This kid is really amazing. Xianlong Tiandi smiled bitterly and shook his head. Indeed, it is hard to count how many fortunes he has obtained. Why do these fortunes like to choose him so much? Especially the 9-dragon Chaos God Bell, who among you has not tried countless times? I have tried it at least thousands of times, and all failed, Demon Dragon Tiandi said. In fact, fate chose him, maybe he is really our future destiny. It seems that it really takes time to cultivate him. What needs to be paid special attention to is the cultivation of spirit and sense of belonging. When the soul-piercing magic needle cannot be used, other things are no longer enough to control his spirit. I think it takes a lot of effort to make him completely become the treasure of our supreme dragon clan. Demon Dragon Emperor pondered. What you said makes sense. Since it is so important and so amazing, I actually want to meet him in person. Since he already has the strength comparable to that of a god king, he can graduate from the Ancestral Dragon Academy in advance. King Mu, bring him here and we will cultivate him together. The important thing is that in this place, we can at least give him resentment towards the Immortal Lord. So, bring that girl here and say that we want to cultivate him in person, Shenlong Emperor said. What do you think? Xianlong Emperor asked. Let him develop freely, we are not very reassured. We still need to see him with our own eyes to know what kind of person he is. If he has a bad mentality, he must be changed. The children in Zilong Academy are ignorant and may reject him. It is just right to send him here. While influencing his heart, we can indeed observe him more and avoid using this treasure for disaster, Xian Dragon Lord said. It's okay to bring him here, but if we really want to use this treasure well, we really need everyone to pay attention to it. If we really can't deal with the Immortal Lord, maybe one day he will become our sharpest weapon, King Mu Dragon Lord said. Then bring him here. Who are the people here? Isn't it easy to make a child loyal to us? Even if his mental will is firm, the chaotic demon realm is enough to give him a painful fact, Demon Dragon Emperor said with a smile. Especially bring that girl here, she doesn't have much time left. To be honest, the 9-dragon Chaos God Bell is under control. Although it's a child, it's really not a small matter. After all, no one has mastered the 9-dragon Chaos God Bell for many years. Maybe it's God's will. Yes, let the Immortal Venerable ask for trouble. King Mu Dragon Venerable smiled. King Mu, bring them here, you don't have to go back, the affairs of the Zilong Academy will be fully entrusted to one person, and give him the greatest power, Shen Long Tiandi suddenly said. Who? King Mu Dragon Venerable asked. The Sky Dragon God King of Guangming Dragon Venerable has the power to control the overall situation. The most important thing is that he can no longer protect Zhangzai. I understand, this is simple, King Mu Dragon Venerable smiled, he did what he said, and left directly. The day after Zhangzai came out of the evolutionary realm, the Sky Dragon God King came to him and said that King Mu Dragon Venerable had returned and was now summoning everyone to go to the Zilong Palace to join. Zhangzai called Yanner and the others, and the 5 of them came together. In front of the Zilong Palace, King Mu Longzun smiled and waited for everyone to arrive. What decision will they make? Yanner realized the delicate situation and asked Zhangzai. You'll know when you listen. If it goes as expected, I may have to leave, Zhangzai said. He already had a hunch. Sure enough, when tens of thousands of people arrived at the Zilong Academy, King Mu Longzun began to say, after Zhangzai obtained the 9-dragon Chaos Divine Bell, I discussed with the gods and made 2 decisions. I would like to inform you. The first decision is that because I am still needed there, I have to leave for a while, but the Zilong Academy cannot be without a leader for the time being, so the gods decided to elect an acting palace master to replace me during this period and be fully responsible for all matters of the Zilong Academy, with the same rights as me. Everyone pricked up their ears. This was not a big news, after all, King Mu Longzun was often away, but what they were interested in was who the acting palace master was. He would definitely not be a god. The acting palace master will be the heavenly dragon god king of the light dragon clan. King Mu Longzun's words caused a lot of noise. Many people may think that the god king from a small divine domain does not have such qualifications. Many dragon priests are dissatisfied with letting the heavenly dragon god king command, but this is the order of the gods. Even if they are unwilling, they can only endure it. You are leaving the heavenly dragon god king suddenly said to Zhangzai. Understood, they are all smart people and know what this arrangement means. They can't let the heavenly dragon god king protect Zhangzai anymore. Zhangzai will be in their hands. The second decision is that in view of Zhangzai's outstanding achievements, the gods decided to jointly train Zhangzai. In addition, Long Yan, who possesses the heart of the true void dragon and the mirror god appearance, has also amazed the gods. It is estimated that the gods decided to bring them to their side and jointly train them so that they can have the capital to become gods faster. However, before they become god kings, they will still be the first and second on the supreme list, and the top 2 floors of the ancestral dragon tower will also be vacated for them so that they can come back to practice and break through at some time. Wow! People were noisy again. Envy, envy. This treatment is simply against the sky. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qingyang. Chapter 1217. Including the year since returning to Qingchuan, more than 4 years have passed in the Zilong Academy. Zhang Zizai had a hunch that he would leave after he got the 9-dragon Chaos God Bell. In the 4 years of Zilong Academy, he had an unprecedented transformation, surpassing all the way, overcoming all the obstacles, and cultivating from the ancient god realm to the 9th level of the God Lord. He had a strong capital in his hands, and even the blood main Dark Kirin in the evolution realm was not his opponent. As for the Zilong Academy, even some of the dragon priests were no longer his opponents, let alone the other disciples. To be honest, staying here is no longer challenging at all. He has basically been to all the places of good fortune in the Zilong Academy, and it should be difficult to gain anything else in the future. As for the reason why the gods summoned him, he was also very clear in his mind. So today's changes can basically be said to be as expected. The only regret is that he must leave the heavenly dragon god king in the future, and many thrilling futures may need to rely on himself. At least now, the disciples of the Zilong Academy are looking at him with great envy. Unconsciously, Zhang Zizai has left their group. Even Qin Yushan can only look up to him from a distance now. His eyes are not good, but he has no way to deal with it. He will even be easily crushed by Long Yan now. Thank you, all the gods, thank you for the trust of the palace master. The dragon god king has accepted it, and he can't help it. After all, he is just a god king from a small divine domain. It's pretty good to be able to mix so well here. Zhang Zizai can't help but accept it either. This is the decision of the entire Supreme Dragon Clan, representing the will of the Supreme Dragon Clan. As long as he is still in this place and has his current identity, he has to accept this will. Therefore, he also thanks all the gods and King Mulongzun. Everything looks very harmonious. Pack up, I'll take you away. Everything went smoothly, King Mulongzun said with a smile. In fact, there was nothing to clean up. Everything that needed to be explained had been agreed with Lu Dingxing and the others. They would stay in the Zilong Academy. There was the protection of the heavenly dragon god king, so they would definitely have no problems. And with Zhang Zizai's current authority, no one in the Zilong Academy dared to bully them. Zhang Zizai had already given them the best god king level evolution source, and they could only rely on themselves for the next practice. So Zhang Zizai said directly that he could leave. In this case, Zhang Junjian, the Zilong Academy will be handed over to you for the time being. The responsibility of cultivating the future of the Supreme Dragon Clan falls on your shoulders, King Mulongzun said. Palace Master, please rest assured, I will do my best with all my heart. The Heavenly Dragon God King smiled. Every time someone called the Heavenly Dragon God King's real name, Zhang Zizai felt very strange, as if his brother was right beside him. But there was no news about the disappeared Xingyang realm and the disappeared Origin continent, and he didn't know who to ask, and the Heavenly Dragon God King had no clue at all. So, in the eyes of thousands of people who envied and admired, Zhang Zizai and Long Yan were taken by King Mulongzun and flew away. For a moment, the sky and the earth seemed to disappear in front of their eyes. They could only see an endless passage leading to their future. Gods are gods. Even if Zhang Zizai is a genius now, gods are still full of incomprehensible wonders in his eyes. Their power is above the power of ancient gods. The God King is already the king among the ancient gods, and gods are another kind of higher level life. Between the clouds and the mist, Zhang Zizai is infinitely close to the chaotic demon realm and the 9 immortals. And he hasn't seen Lingling for more than 4 years, who is now more than 6 years old. She has grown up so much that Zhang Zizai doesn't know what the child looks like now. This is the most depressing thing as a father. To be honest, he really misses this little girl, but the reality is that it is really difficult for him to see her again, and he can't even know whether she is doing well or not. Sometimes thinking of her cuteness, a person can also smile foolishly. He knew that his growth was very scary, but compared with those who had practiced for hundreds of thousands of years, he was too immature. Therefore, he could not see the day when he could see Lingling or even take her away. He felt that he had the right to do so. She needed a father. But when he thought about it, it felt too far away. Maybe when she grew up and became an adult, he might not be able to see her again. This was also a kind of bitterness. He had been looking ahead. He knew that the Chaos Demon realm was in this direction. When King Mulongzun slowed down, he could vaguely see that at the end of the world, there was a dark and barren land. It was the place that was once oppressed by the Supreme Dragon Lord and the corner of the Dragon Sacrifice Divine Domain. But at this time, he actually felt a sense of vitality. I remember them saying that before the Chaos Demon realm had the Immortal Lord, and after losing the Immortal Lord, it was all slaves of the Supreme Dragon clan. Those ancient gods who did not have the Dragon Totem had only the right to suffer humiliation and live under the rule of the Supreme Dragon clan's puppets. The people here were living in poverty, but they could not enter the territory of the Supreme Dragon clan. No one could have imagined that such a shabby place would now become a headache for such a large tribe as the Supreme Dragon clan. The Supreme Dragon clan has now set up many totem formations, surrounding the entire Chaos Demon realm inside and out. Ordinary ancient gods in the Chaos Demon realm are unlikely to come out in their lifetime. Even the God King is unlikely to walk out of these totem formations alive. That's not all. In fact, for a long time, the gods of the Supreme Dragon clan have been nearby. They almost surrounded the entire Chaos Demon realm and established many bases. Now the Immortal clan has become their biggest worry. In several confrontations, gods have died and the hatred between the two has become irreconcilable. In this case, because the hinterland is vast, the gods of the Supreme Dragon clan are worried that the Immortal clan will massacre ordinary tribes. They really dare not take it lightly. So far, they have been treating the Chaos Demon realm with the most cautious attitude. The two have long been at loggerheads. Inside and outside the border, in fact, both sides have a lot of defenses. The Chaos Demon realm only relies on the all-living beings' heavenly intention Teng array, which also needs the power of all living beings, so the Immortal clan will definitely not dare to leave casually. Once she leaves privately, no one will be in charge of the all-living beings' heavenly intention Teng array. Once the Supreme Dragon clan god rushes in to massacre and destroys the Immortal clan's foundation, the entire Chaos Demon realm will be destroyed. This is also the reason why the gods are surrounded near the Chaos Demon realm. If the Immortal clan is dead, they will also be dead. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1218. In such a tense and fierce atmosphere, Zhang Zizai and Long Yan came to one of the bases. This place is called Demon Slayer Mountain. It is the largest base of the Supreme Dragon clan. The 4 Dragon Emperors and others often gather here. The meetings are basically held here. In fact, they have been thinking of ways to crack it, researching from ancient classics, and even visiting many friends from other 49 divine realms to ask others to help crack it. Many methods have been used, but at least it is certain that there is no best way yet. At this time, Zhang Zizai came to Demon Slaughter Mountain. As I write this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. This time, Zhang Zizai met a lot of gods. Except for the gods of the Holy Dragon Celestial clan, he had basically seen them all. He basically didn't recognize the gods of the other 4 Supreme Dragon clans, but there were terrifying existences such as the 4 Dragon Emperors. He could still see it in the blink of an eye. Hearing that Zhang Zizai was coming, many Dragon Lords who were interested in him came over. Dragon Lord King Mu took the trouble. Every time a Dragon Lord came, he would personally introduce Zhang Zizai to let him get acquainted with him. All the dragon lords also let him know. Zhang Zizai showed off the 9 dragons chaos divine clock, and they were very interested in it. After reading it, they all expressed their appreciation. It's really good. You are so outstanding. We have tried countless times without success. You have been recognized by the 9 dragons chaos divine bell when you are still just a divine king. You are the first person in all eternity. Zhang Zizai has indeed left. You are only in your 20s. I dare say that now, not to mention the Supreme Dragon Clan, there will be no one in the 49 divine realms combined who can compete with you at your age. 20s? Definitely not. At least at your age, you can be said to be the #1 genius in the world. It's really good. It's the pride of our Supreme Dragon Clan. The Dragon Lords were all smiling and had a very good attitude towards him. In fact, Zhang Zizai knew that by giving him face like this, they also wanted to give Zhang Zizai some favor so that he could truly be loyal to the Supreme Dragon Clan. Under such a premise, he naturally had to perform well, so he quickly thanked the gods for their praise, and said frankly that he still had a lot of room for improvement, and he must not be proud. Besides, in the 49 god realm, there might be someone more rebellious than himself. Of heaven and man, the overall relationship can be said to be very harmonious. The Dragon Lords are very satisfied with Zhang Ziyu. Basically, they all say that if Zhang Ziyu has any needs in cultivation, he can talk to them. For example, they have all the resources such as battle tactics. Even if he has any doubts about cultivation, as gods, he can also help Zhang Zizai solve his doubts at any time. You are here, thinking about the road to becoming a god king. There are many god kings here who can help you experience. The current Zilong Academy lacks people who can be your opponents, so it is a good thing to come here. Only god kings can guide you. Your experience in becoming a god king in your 20s, is unprecedented in the entire 49 divine realms. Not many people can achieve it, not to mention you have a divine object like the 9 dragons chaos divine bell. If you exert more power in the future, you will definitely have a power that makes people fearful. Emperor Shenlong smiled. It seems that Zhang Zizai has now become the darling of the entire Supreme Dragon Clan. Normal young people will be nervous and excited, and Zhang Zizai behaves the same way, but in fact he is very calm in his heart, because it is difficult for him to forget the soul-piercing magic needle. He also knows that, in fact, the gods were also anxious to obtain so many blessings and resources from the Supreme Dragon Clan, but in the end they were wasted and did not create any benefit for the Supreme Dragon Clan. Is this Miss Long Yan? Sure enough, like Zhang Zizai, they are both talented and beautiful, a golden boy and a beautiful girl. The heavenly dragon god King Zhang Junjian is really capable of cultivating 2 such geniuses, which adds hope for the future for our Supreme Dragon Clan. Immortal Dragon the Emperor of Heaven smiled slightly. She was the only woman among the 4 dragon emperors. Her appearance was naturally the beauty of heaven and earth. She was breathtakingly beautiful and dazzled the world. There were few people in the world who could compare with her. More importantly, she was holy and pure and graceful. They knew that this girl had a quiet personality, so she just nodded, and Emperor Xianlong didn't blame her. She came to Long Yan, observed and looked at her, patted Long Yan's shoulder, and said softly, "The child's talent is really good. With the mirror god appearance and the heart of reincarnation, it will not be a big problem to become a god in the future. And I think your soul seems to be very powerful. It is probably comparable to a god king? With such a talent, without Zhang Zizai? If so, you are shining enough, but I hate that the Immortal Lord is so ruthless and puts the calamity of reincarnation on you." When she said this, it seemed that the gods were a little regretful. After all, as long as the reincarnation disaster occurs, it seems that no matter how great the genius is, they will turn into Lois and disappear into thin air. Maybe even the mind of emptiness and reincarnation has no effect. The calamity of reincarnation is the rule of heaven and earth and the foundation of all things. There happen to be so many people present today. Seeing this as an opportunity, Zhang Zizai quickly asked, "Senior gods, I would like to ask if there is any way to save Yan'er. As long as she can survive, I will do anything." Can. But after listening, the gods were silent. They looked at each other in confusion. The Dragon Emperor also asked everyone if they had any clever ideas, but no one answered. This was the result. The immortal Dragon Emperor said with regret, "There is really no way. This is the reincarnation calamity of the immortal venerable. The immortal venerable was too powerful in the past. The power of her reincarnation calamity is much stronger than that of other ancient gods. Although she has successfully reincarnated and reborn, the power of the reincarnation calamity is still there. At present, there is only one way to let Yan'er survive." "What method?" Zhang Zizai asked hurriedly. "The person who tied the bell must be the one who untied it. Between heaven and earth, I am afraid that only the immortal venerable can get rid of this reincarnation calamity and let her survive. Otherwise, when the time comes, she will be bitten by the reincarnation calamity and die of old age." The immortal Dragon Emperor shook his head helplessly. "Isn't this nonsense?" Zhang Zizai thought she had other ways, but it was useless to say it. Of course, he couldn't blame the immortal Dragon Emperor. She just told the truth. Although they were all gods, they couldn't transfer this reincarnation calamity. It was basically useless to rely on Yan'er herself. The only way was to ask the immortal venerable to solve it himself. "Please be patient, there should be 5 or 6 years left. In these 5 or 6 years, we will most likely be able to deal with the immortal venerable. Then we can capture her and force her to help Yan'er solve this reincarnation calamity. Otherwise, there is no other way, unless the immortal venerable is willing to solve it for her." The immortal Dragon Emperor comforted. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1219. Zhang Zizai just thought that if her life and death were really controlled, at that time, with her personality of wanting to pay with blood, it would be even more difficult for her to let Yan'er live at such an extreme moment. Taiwan Novel Network. Rightward arrow. There is still time, but not much. He looked in the direction of the Chaos Demon realm. In fact, he really didn't understand. Didn't she just regard him as a small passerby? Why would she target Yan'er? If she hadn't targeted him, Zhang Zizai wouldn't even have to stay in the Dragon Sacrifice God realm to struggle. If she doesn't love her anymore and there's nothing she can do to change it, then there's no point in leaving Zhang Zizai chasing her. If she was really that high and mighty, why would she let Long Yan, who was so small at that time, put to death? In fact, there were many things that Zhang Zizai wanted to ask her personally. He also wanted to know whether Lingdang was doing well, but it was a pity that he did not have this opportunity. "If you dare, I can take you into the Chaos Demon realm and take you to see her. If you can convince her, that is also a way. Anyway, it will not affect our determination to kill her," the immortal Dragon Emperor suddenly said. "Can the Emperor of Heaven take me to sneak into it?" Zhang Zizai asked quickly. "It's not difficult. I can't do anything to her, and she can't do anything to me. I've gone in and secretly fought with her several times, but there was no chance, so it's no longer in vain. But it's not difficult to find her." Xianlong, the Emperor of Heaven, said. She paused and said, "But you should not have too much hope. From what I know about her, this vicious woman who is bound to retaliate, she wants our entire Supreme Dragon clan to be exterminated, so she will be extra merciful to Yan'er. Stay alive." Although she said this, for Zhang Zizai, he really had many things that he wanted to ask himself. He even wanted to know everything about the bell. He had been pursuing the 9 Immortals for so many years and had only seen him once. There was so much in his heart. He was confused. If he could see her safely and come back, then how could he not seize such an opportunity? At least Long Yan is innocent. Her life and death should not be decided by the 9 immortals. If she really wants to kill someone, it shouldn't be Long Yan who dies. So when such an opportunity presented itself, Zhang Zizai said directly, I still want to give it a try. The gods looked at each other, and there seemed to be some smiles in their eyes, because they felt that the method of the immortal dragon emperor happened to be the best way to make Zhang Zizai give up. They knew the current immortal lord better than anyone else. Let her value human love in just a few years? How is this possible? She is a murderer now. She just wants everyone who killed her to die. Okay, then I'll take you in now. Bring Long Yan with you. After all, for the immortal lord, solving the reincarnation calamity is a matter of seconds. All it takes is her consent. If she came back to take someone with her, she would be depressed if she regretted it after returning. The other gods did not stop him. After all, the immortal dragon emperor is the best at hiding among the entire supreme dragon clan. Of course, even she is still worse than Long Yan's nothingness state. Her state of nothingness can completely make herself disappears and is immune to all damage. The immortal dragon heavenly emperor gently waved his sleeves, and in the blink of an eye, he enveloped Zhang Zizai and the two of them. When Zhang Zizai reacted, he was already in a white world, and it felt as if he was being trapped. Shrunk and rolled into the sleeves of the immortal dragon emperor, because in this space, there is still the charming body fragrance of the immortal dragon emperor. Then he noticed that there was agitation around him. It should be that the immortal dragon emperor had already taken action and sneaked into the chaotic demon realm. Zhang Zizai had no doubt that she had the ability to find the immortal lord. He didn't expect that he would have the opportunity to see her so soon. Actually, I feel like they want you to give up when they let you see her, Long Yan suddenly said. You also think that she will definitely not agree to help you solve the reincarnation disaster, right? Zhang Zizai asked. Yes. She doesn't seem to be someone who will change her mind easily. She is not the 9 immortals priest. Long Yan lowered his head and said. She didn't say much, but she knew everything. When she saw Zhang Zizai frowning, she quickly said, it's okay, brother Zizai, you can give it a try, and if you can talk to her a few more words, or even know how Lingdang is doing, it will be very important to you. She is always so beautiful, and her own affairs never matter. Zhang Zizai knew for sure that the gods wanted him to give up, but at this time, he was a little stubborn. He just wanted to ask her again and get an answer, that is, did she still have the 9 immortals in her heart? Is the woman who comforted him countless times really equivalent to death? The answer will soon be revealed. Even though you may know that the answer will not be very good, sometimes life can be so confusing, and you may think that it is a moth flying into the flame, but if you don't fight for it, don't face it bravely, and live in darkness forever, that's what it means. The most pitiable. So, Zhang Zizai is here. The immortal dragon emperor had already entered the chaos demon realm, and she shuttled through it silently. As long as she made some noise, the immortal lord would come to her on his own initiative, so it didn't take long for the immortal dragon emperor's voice to come in. I saw her, you come out first. She asked Zhang Zizai to go out first and Yanner to stay inside first. It wouldn't be too late to let her out after the results were obtained. This moment has arrived. Zhang Zizai was not nervous. He had imagined meeting again countless times, but he didn't want to do it anymore. He had too many extravagant expectations, so he might as well face it with a normal heart. At this time, the space around him rolled up, and he had returned to the outside world out of thin air. This was a dark barren mountain, very barren everywhere, the ground was very dirty, and there was a lot of blood. There were many graves scattered around, and some corpses were not buried properly. The stench was overwhelming. This was undoubtedly a mass grave. The immortal dragon emperor next to him was too holy and pure, and was out of place here. After she appeared, the grass and trees began to revive and grew at an unexpected speed. In an instant, the barren mountain was filled with birdsong and flowers, covering the stench of the corpses, making this place suddenly full of vitality. No matter how glamorous it is, it's all superficial. These tricks can't cover up the rot and stench underneath, so why pretend like this? At this moment, Zhang Zizai heard a familiar voice coming from behind him. When he turned around, he finally saw another woman in white clothes again. It was the face in his dream. She appeared again, haunting him. Even if the immortal dragon emperor was next to her, her beauty was still suffocating. She was real this time, not in a dream. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1220. You came in alone, and you are sure that I can't kill you. She stared at the immortal dragon emperor, as if she didn't see Zhang Zizai. I'm just a guide, not the protagonist. You talk to him. The immortal dragon emperor looked cold. Facing this great enemy, all she wanted was how to kill the immortal venerable. She finally looked at Zhang Zizai, and perhaps at this moment, their eyes collided. Incredible, such a tiny man. I handed the knife to you, but you let him live until now. Could it be that you want to rely on his and my boring mortal feelings to deal with me? The immortal venerable looked a little surprised, and she really didn't hide it at all. These words would not hurt Zhang Zizai in fact. If she didn't have everything from the 9 immortals, then whatever she said was normal, and she didn't need to mind it at all. He asked, Lingling, are you okay? He thought a lot, but out of thousands of words, only this one sentence remained in his mouth. But after she finished speaking, her face had turned cold, and she said, it is a shame for my daughter to have such an ordinary father like you. I did not personally kill you because you helped me to be reborn. But if you only ask the same question again and you have no self-awareness at all, I can bury you here and let you rot with other corpses. What she said was even more cruel than Zhang Zizai had expected. No wonder they said that she was just a vicious woman who wanted to pay blood debt with blood. Same appearance, different person, like a changed soul. This is sad. Zhang Zizai took a deep breath. He already knew that his heartfelt words were useless. What he said now was like playing the lute to a cow, without any meaning. He had no doubt that she would really kill him if he asked one more question. So talking about the past, even about her past life, all these relationships were meaningless. So at this time, it would be better to wake up and not be so naive. Want to wake her up, want to see if there is still a little shadow of the 9 immortals in her heart. Is it a dream? The gods of the Supreme Dragon clan knew the current immortal venerable. The immortal dragon emperor brought Zhang Zizai in to make him sober and make him completely despair of the immortal venerable. Their goal had been achieved at this moment. From then on, Zhang Zizai would never have any more delusions until he matched their strength. Those were ridiculous cowards. No one knew how much everything today had affected Zhang Zizai's state of mind. For the immortal dragon emperor, the more cruel the immortal venerable was, the happier she was. She knew that this would often make Zhang Zizai rebel, and make him swear allegiance to the Supreme Dragon clan and even deal with the immortal venerable. But she didn't know that even so, Zhang Zizai's mind was clear. He took a deep breath, suddenly smiled, and said, this is good, we can be even. Let me ask you, I helped you reincarnate, so I have a little gratitude, right? You do me a favor today, and we are even from now on. You can kill me at will in the future, no need to have any psychological burden. How about it? The immortal lord smiled, and she said, you are quite courageous, and you dare to negotiate with me, but I am curious, what do you want me to do for you, and you can pay the price of my life. Zhang Zizai stared into her eyes. He was not afraid at all. He said, you remove Yanus' reincarnation calamity, and it doesn't matter if you kill me at will in the future, as long as... He wanted to say that as long as Lingdang lived well, but the immortal lord did not allow him to say that, so he closed his mouth, and only the first half of the sentence would be enough. He thought that the gratitude of reincarnation could always be exchanged for Yanner's life, right? As a result, she refused directly and said, "Impossible, she must die." Why, Zhang Zizai really couldn't figure out what she was arguing with Long Yan. They are not people of the same level at all. The reason is that I don't want to kill you, but I don't want you to have a good life either. She smiled again after she finished speaking. This smile was like a devil. After that, she said to the immortal dragon emperor, "Take the person away, 3 breaths of time, otherwise don't blame me if you die." She was not joking. She already had murderous intent in her hands. So the immortal dragon emperor seemed to have no reason to hesitate. Anyway, the effect she wanted was already there, so she almost put Zhang Zizai into her sleeves after the other party finished speaking, and then left directly. "Zhang Zizai, this time there is really no way, the immortal venerable is so sinister and vicious, I can't let you say more. At such a close distance, with her strength, it would take only a moment to kill a god lord. I can't protect you at all, so I can only protect you first." After bringing Zhang Zizai in, the immortal dragon emperor explained to him. "It doesn't matter, let's go," Zhang Zizai said. The other party did not give the opportunity to continue speaking, so today it ends here. This situation was much worse than he had imagined. She was too strong and didn't give him any chance. Even if Zhang Zizai offered to be reborn as a favor, she ignored it because she didn't want Zhang Zizai to live a good life. As long as Yanner died because of this incident, Zhang Zizai might not live a good life. It was impossible to see the bell again, but she could always trust that the immortal venerable would at least not treat her too badly. Finally, Zhang Zizai didn't care about his self-esteem. He was just a little desperate because he felt sorry for the girl who wanted to comfort him. She walked over gently and took the initiative to hug Zhang Zizai for the first time, saying softly, "Brother Zizai, don't worry about it. Yanner is not afraid of death." At this moment, Zhang Zizai really had a headache and was even angry. He hugged Yanner in his arms. "Why are you so pitiful? Everyone wants you to die. She wants you to die, and the Supreme Dragon Lord also wants you to die." Zhang Zizai gritted his teeth and said in her ear. He is not stupid, he can completely see that in order to make him resent the Immortal Lord even more, the gods of the Supreme Dragon clan all want Long Yan to die in the reincarnation. She is just an insignificant person in this dragon sacrifice realm, why should she be responsible? That means Yanner is destined to die, so don't struggle. So far in life, I am actually satisfied. At least you have worked hard for me and been sad for me. Except for my father, mother, and sister, there is no one. How many people are like this, she suddenly said with a choked voice. Zhang Zizai's head hurt and his scalp was numb. He suddenly took a deep breath and hugged the girl tightly. From this moment on, he really couldn't lose her anymore. Therefore, he said with a ferocious look, "Yanner, I can never let them get what they want, I can never let them succeed, and I can never let you die. If I can't do it, if you die in the tribulation of reincarnation, then I will die together with you. Anyway, Lingdang is taken care of by her, and I have nothing to worry about anymore. I don't want you to go alone. You have been too lonely in your life. I can never let you go on your own again, absolutely not. Brother Zizi." Her eyes were confused, her head rested on Zhang Zizai's shoulder, her hands grasped the clothes behind Zhang Zizai's back, and she was stunned for a long time. The person in my arms is so hot. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1221. After Zhang Zizai and the immortal dragon emperor left Tumo Mountain, the gods on Tumo Mountain did not leave. They all knew that this trip would play a decisive role in Zhang Zizai's choice of future direction. Now they are paying so much attention to Zhang Zizai, not only because of his talent, but also because he has been recognized by the ancestral dragon tower, and he also has the sacred object of the supreme dragon clan, the 9-dragon chaos god Bel, so it is impossible not to pay attention to him. Although they are all high and mighty gods, they still have to pay attention to Zhang Zizai's affairs and be careful. It is no longer possible to simply solve them with a soul-piercing magic needle. After all, the bright dragon lord, who had helped Zhang Zizai the most, has passed away. Otherwise, they might feel more at ease if they let the bright dragon lord take care of all this. I have a hunch. Based on my experience of contacting the immortal venerable several times, Zhang Zizai will definitely return with hatred this time. He will not give up completely, but at least he will give up most of it. When no one can stop Long Yan from dying in the reincarnation calamity in a few years, he should give up completely and even form hatred. At that time, we should add fuel to the fire, Demon Dragon Emperor said. This kid has too many resources. Although it seems a bit exaggerated for a group of old guys to plot against him, in such a situation, the more cautious the better. He already has the 9-dragon chaos divine bell. If he is well trained, he will definitely be a promising talent in the future, Divine Dragon Emperor said. I remember that he and the immortal venerable have a daughter, right? He should value this daughter very much. If he can start with this daughter and stimulate their conflicts, then he will definitely regard the immortal venerable as his mortal enemy, a god said. Let's not talk about this for now. After all, it is a dangerous move. If Zhang Zizai finds out, he should betray us first, Demon Dragon Emperor said seriously. Yes. The 4 great dragon emperors, the Divine Dragon Emperor is majestic and overbearing, the Immortal Dragon Emperor is holy and detached from the world, the Demon Dragon Emperor is bloody and dark, and the Demon Dragon Emperor is weird and gloomy, each with its own characteristics. Zhang Zizai is just a small layout. The key at present is still the Tank formation of the heavenly intention of all living beings. As long as the immortal venerable is alive, we will not have peace. The loss of the 7 gods has spread to the 49 divine realms, and now they are all laughing at us. The Divine Dragon Emperor's eyes are deep, and the depths of his eyes are full of murderous intent. Such a situation makes them restless every day. The Supreme Dragon Clan is a big clan in the world, and has never had such an embarrassing moment. An immortal venerable really makes them lose face. Fortunately, no other divine realm took the opportunity to attack, otherwise it would be even more troublesome. With the arrogance of the Supreme Dragon Clan, a humble existence like the immortal venerable from the Chaos Demon realm can embarrass them so much. As gods, the murderous intent in their hearts is indeed extraordinary. At this dull moment, a god suddenly returned from outside. It was the Golden Thorn Dragon Lord of the Holy Dragon Clan. He looked excited and said directly after entering, "Everyone, God is helping me. I have finally figured out how to crack the heavenly intention Tank formation of all living beings and even kill the immortal Lord. Of course, the difficulty is really great, but at least there is a direction." His words attracted everyone's attention. Everyone was silent, waiting for him to speak. Golden Thorn Dragon Lord is one of the gods responsible for communicating with the outside divine realm. He has been looking for helpers and ways to crack the heavenly intention Tank formation of all living beings in various divine realms for some time. He came back with good news, which was really exciting. "What do you mean?" people asked. "In the ancient realm, there is news from the origin cave that being wants to hold the 49 sacrifices immediately. It has been 38,000 years since the last 49 sacrifices. It is time for the 49 sacrifices. What I mean is, if our Supreme Dragon Clan can get the first place in the 49 sacrifices and ask that being to kill the immortal venerable completely, what if that being makes a move? Wouldn't the immortal venerable be instantly annihilated? Even the heavenly intentions of all living beings Tank formation is useless," the Golden Thorn Dragon Venerable said excitedly. After hearing this, The gods look slightly surprised, but of course also deeply solemn. You are right. If the immortal venerable is wished to be killed, and that being makes a move, the immortal venerable will surely die. The problem of the chaos demon realm is solved, but the first place in the 49 sacrifices is not an easy thing. A total of 49 divine domains compete with each other. In order to get the first place, everyone will risk their lives. Our Supreme Dragon clan has not won the first place in the 49 sacrifices for a long time. The Dragon Emperor frowned. Anyway, this is indeed an opportunity. If you haven't tried, how can you know that you can't do it? Besides, I am quite satisfied with the attainments of these God Kings at present. They should be better than the previous 49 sacrifices. It is not easy to get the first place in the 49 sacrifices, so there may be a chance. At least it is a hope, said the demonic Dragon Emperor. In fact, the 4 great Dragon Emperors have great authority in the Supreme Dragon clan, and many major events are basically discussed by them. Okay, anyway, the God Kings are not very helpful when dealing with the Immortal Lord, so I will select the best 100 God Kings and lead them to the ancient realm to participate in the 49 sacrifices. The specific number of places will be discussed when the Immortal Dragon Emperor comes back. We must discuss it together. This time, the selection must be cautious, said the Divine Dragon Emperor. Although it is difficult, it is indeed necessary to try. After all, so far, there is really no other way except that existence to take action. In the history of our Supreme Dragon clan, we have won the first place in the 49 sacrifice, which can be said to be among the top 3 in the 49 divine realm. I hope we will be lucky this time. Although it is not as glorious as in ancient times, after all, we monopolize the dragon sacrifice divine domain, unlike other small clans that jointly control the same divine domain. Let's decide on the candidates directly. We will propose more than 100 first, and then we will delete them based on their merits. We will take out the best ones first, Emperor Shenlong said. Attention, don't forget that the 49 sacrifice is not just about strength. Judging from all past experiences, talent and good luck are the first elements of selection. It requires a selection similar to the Supreme List, in which the proportion of combat power is added. It's not about choosing all the 9th levels of the God King. If you only choose the 9th level of the God King, that would be too much. Yes, strength is not the only factor, but it is also the key factor. The Supreme List is pure talent and good fortune. It is necessary to add the realm of strength to it, and then add personal spiritual will. It is best to be at the 5th level of the God King or above, very talented. There is no need for those who are stuck in the 9th level of the God King. Indeed, many of the firsts in the 49 sacrifice in history were not at the 9th level of the God King realm when they first entered. But in the 49 sacrifice, they created their own path to the gods. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1222. Talent comes first, strength comes second. The ancient realm itself has countless fortunes, and it is also a place where you can improve yourself. Even if they can't get the first place, they may get some fortunes. They talked a lot and began to select candidates. The names they thought of were directly engraved on the ground. However, the requirements of the gods are relatively high, and they dare not be unfair in the face of major events. The Immortal Dragon Emperor is not here for the time being, but they have recommended many immortal dragons. When the Immortal Dragon Emperor comes back, he can confirm it. I recommend 1, the Heavenly Dragon God King Zhang Junjian of the Bright Dragon clan. This person rarely takes action, but through getting along with him, I found that he is very hidden at this time. Last time when the Holy Dragon clan offered sacrifices to their ancestors, his performance was also very amazing. The God King of Glory was not his opponent. Since the God King of Glory is on the list, he should be able to go, and there may be surprises, King Mu Longzun said. In this case, The Zilong Academy will have to change someone to act as the agent, the Dragon Emperor said. This is simple, King Mulongzun said. Okay, add his name first. A god king of a small divine domain is really amazing. Zhang Zizai was trained by him. Shen Longtiandi nodded. At this time, Xian Longtiandi just came back. Seeing that Zhang Zizai was not around, everyone asked her about her situation. I have arranged a place for them to practice. Let them practice with peace of mind first. Xian Longtiandi smiled. How is the effect today? Shen Longtiandi asked. As you expected, the effect exceeded expectations. Our enemies are quite fierce. I think Zhang Zizai has been hurt. There is nothing to do next. Everything will go as it should, Xian Longtiandi said. Not bad. After Zhang Zizai's affairs were settled, they felt a little relieved. What are you doing? Writing these names on the ground, Xian Longtiandi asked curiously. After learning about it, she knew about the 49th sacrifice. Seeing that the gifted god kings of her immortal dragon heavenly clan did not suffer any loss, she was relieved. This was a major event for the whole clan, and it was related to whether the immortal venerable could be killed. The gods did not dare to act privately. The selection of candidates was basically based on the performance of talent and strength. Everyone supervised together, which was naturally fair and just. More than 100 names were gathered, and then compared with each other. The gods knew best what level the younger generations were. By the way, Zhang Zizai actually has the strength of a god king. Why don't you let him try? After all, in the Zilong Academy, no matter how I look at it, I think he is really lucky and has good fortune wherever he goes. If he goes to a place like the ancient realm, maybe he can soar into the sky. King Mudragon Venerable suddenly said. The 49th sacrifice takes 5 years, and Long Yan has about 6 years left. After the 49th sacrifice, can he come back to see her off? The time is just right. Demon Dragon Emperor smiled, but he did not express his opinion on whether Zhang Zizai could participate in the 49th sacrifice. The requirements for participating in the 49th sacrifice are that one must be below the level of a god. It doesn't mean that a god cannot go. In history, there have been gods who went in. Although they didn't gain much, it was also considered an experience. As for those who died tragically, they were unlucky and were not well protected. The Dragon Emperor was thinking about this problem carefully. I think he is indeed lucky. Maybe he can be allowed to experience it. And from today's situation, it is not a bad thing to let him leave temporarily, in a new environment, to maintain his anger towards the Immortal Lord, and at the same time learn to fight for the glory of our Supreme Dragon Clan, the Dragon Emperor said. I don't expect him to do anything, but it would be good if he could be lucky enough to get something. It is also a very good experience. As for combat effectiveness, among the people we nominated, some of them may not be his opponents, King Mudragon Lord said. He advocated cultivating Zhang Zizai well. After all, he is the closest to Zhang Zizai now. If Zhang Zizai becomes a pillar in the future, he will also have a credit. The 49th sacrifice is a life and death risk, which is normal. If he can't survive, it's fate. If he dies, the 9-dragon Chaos God Bel can return naturally. Since the immortal dragon Tianzun succeeded today and planted the seeds of hatred, it is also a good thing to let him fight for our Supreme Dragon Clan. The key is to let him stay here. We say that we will guide him together, but once there is a lack of competition, it will not be good for him. The 49th sacrifice will fight with the super gods of the 49th god realm, and many of them are life and death battles. I think it is indeed feasible in the end. The Divine Dragon Emperor made a decision. The key is that the Immortal Dragon Emperor's plan today was too successful, so it is indeed necessary to stop at the right time. Next, let Zhang Zizai slowly ferment this hatred in his heart. And the 5-year 49th sacrifice is just enough for him to catch up with Yanner's death. Since the Dragon Emperors have confirmed this candidate, other gods will not say much. But one person asked, the key is that Longyan is in danger in less than 6 years. Will he be willing to leave for 5 years? This is a problem. Normally, Zhang Zizhe would not dare to leave. That's even simpler. Just tell him that if he can get the first place in the 49th festival and get a chance to realize his wish, then he can solve the problem of reincarnation, right? The demonic dragon emperor laughed. With Zhang Zizhe's personality, this reason will make him more eager for the 49th festival than us, the divine dragon emperor said. This is for Zhang Zizhe, and others will definitely ask them to get the first place in the 49th festival, and the wish must be to destroy the immortal venerable. As for why the demon dragon emperor said this in a joking manner, it was naturally because that was the battlefield of the real top god kings. Zhang Zizhe could only be considered to have some experience there at most, and the possibility of him getting the first place in the 49 festivals was close to zero. Of course, everyone knew this possibility, but they couldn't tell him. Okay, let him try. In 5 years, at least he can cross the hurdle from God Lord to God King in the ancient realm, which is very good. On the contrary, here, because there is a lack of enough opponents to hone his skills, his progress will be slower. The Dragon Emperor finally made a decision, and no one talked about it anymore. They continued to rest and reorganize the 100 places until all of them were finally decided. As for Zhang Zizhe, King Mulongzun told him that after all, he knew nothing about the 49 festivals, while other god kings must know about it. It's just that the last 49 festivals had been more than 30,000 years apart. The god kings who participated in that year either became gods or died. Now these 100 people, or even all the god kings who will go to the ancient realm in the 49 god realms, are all going for the first time. For a god king at this level, the greatest aspiration in life is the 49 sacrifices.